Does the music playing in a store actually change what you buy? Not whether you like the place and not your mood on the way out, but what you walk out having spent. So people have been running real experiments on this since the early 1980s. They've been using stopwatches and long-form old registered tapes. So the honest answer is yes. But the research is smaller and a little bit stranger than the headline you may have heard before. So before I show my work, here's where this lands. The effect is real, and it's been measured many times. It works at a pace and with your associations, but not your willpower. 1982, a supermarket in the American Midwest, a researcher named Ronald Milliman talks the manager into letting him run an experiment on the background music. So some days it plays slow, some days it plays fast, and nothing else moves. It's the same products, the same prices, in the same aisles, the same staff, everything. He stands there at the register and watches what the tempo does to the day. And the slow music days ring up dramatically more money than the fast days. It's the same store, it's the same week. The only thing different was how fast the song was going. So he even put a dollar figure on it, roughly $4,000 to $6,000 in that store every single day. So here's the part that stuck with everybody who read it. When he asked shoppers on the way out what they had been playing, most of them could not tell him. They had spent more, they'd walked slower, they'd linger longer, but they had no idea that the music had anything to do with it. The easy story is that music puts people into a buying mood. A nice song means a happier shopper, means an open wallet. And so that's the version that got pasted onto thousands of business blogs. And it's not a crazy guess. We all feel like a track can change our mood in a few seconds. You walk into a place, the song is right, you feel good, you hang out a little bit longer. And so it seems obvious that a store could just pipe in a good playlist and watch the sales climb. It would be like flipping a switch on how people feel. So that intuition is why that 38% number traveled so far beyond the study. And it sounds like absolute proof that music tunes the customer's emotions and the emotions open their wallets. But the research is more interesting than that, and it's a lot more specific. So here's what the Milliman study actually measured. And it was never really about mood. On slow days, people moved slower. They walked the aisles at a more relaxed pace. They spent more time in the store. And a longer trip meant a fuller cart. The number he reported was about 38% higher gross sales on the slow music days than the fast ones. But the lever was the feet. It wasn't necessarily the feelings. So the tempo set the walking speed, and the walking speed set the basket size. The music was working on the body before it ever touched the mood. Now, one supermarket in 1982 is one supermarket in 1982. So the real question is whether this holds up once you stop trusting a single store. Two pieces of work answer that. In the year 2000, Turley and Milliman pulled together about 60 of these atmospheric studies, so a meta-analysis, and asked what survived across all of them. Their finding was pretty blunt. The effects are real, but they're heavily moderated. These depend on whether the music fits the store, whether the people notice it, and who the shopper is. Then in 2006, Garland and Owen went further and ran a proper meta-analysis. 32 studies, 148 separate effect sizes. They were pooled together, so any one fluke gets washed out. What they found is that the honest center of this whole field, that background music produces a small to moderate effect on sales and how long people stay. And that effect is robust. It shows up reliably, and it is just not large. It gets stronger when people actually like the music that's playing. So what's actually happening? Think of music in a room less like a mood switch and more like a metronome for the body. Tempo sets the pace, and people unconsciously fall into step with it. The same way that your walking speed creeps up when a fast song comes on your headphones. Slow song, slow feet, longer trip, fuller basket. That is the Milliman effect in one line. And notice what it's not doing. It's not talking anybody into a purchase. It's setting the speed at which they move and the choices they were already going to make. The music changes the pace. and the pace changes the basket. That's why the shoppers couldn't really report what was playing, and they still behaved differently. The metronome does not need you to hear it, it just needs your feet to keep time. Now, the catch, because this is the whole point. Milliman's famous 38% lift came from one store in one stretch of days decades ago. When researchers pool everything that we've learned since, that headline number does not hold its size. Garland and Owen's meta-analysis put the real repeatable effect in the small to moderate range, not the blockbuster range that the brochures imply. And Turley and Milliman's review is clear that the effect lives or dies on fit. The wrong music for the wrong room, the wrong crowd, music nobody likes, and the lever barely moves. The direction of the finding is solid. The magnitude is conditional. And the conditions are most of the job, getting those right. So where does that leave us? On the evidence, store music affecting sales grades out at about a B. The effect is real, and it has been shown across dozens of studies confirmed by meta-analysis, but it's smaller and more conditional than the business world pretends. And it works on your pace, not your willpower. If you run a space, the takeaway is not play slow music, make more money, as great as that might be. The lesson from the meta-analysis is that there are no single right tempo or genres to reach for. The effect is real, but it depends on whether the music fits the room, this brand, and the people actually standing in it at 11 in the morning versus 6 at night. That is the part that almost everybody skips. Music is doing something whether you chose it or not, and the tempo is setting the customer's pace. The style is setting their associations, and those are levers. And most stores are running a playlist that nobody picked. If you want to know what your room is actually doing to the people in it, that's the work that I do. Subscribe, follow if you want more of these analyses.